So I love this wonderful blend of Viognier Chardonnay and a little Treminette, which gives it just this little sweetness. This is a great recipe with it. It's ham, fresh peas, a little pasta, some wonderful cream sauce, and I think you're gonna love it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take a 7-ounce steak. This is a ham steak, and I just want to cube it. I'm kind of like about, a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 of an inch in a nice julienne strip, and then I'll just cube that up. And I want to have all of my ingredients ready. Anytime you're cooking, you want to have that mise en place ready so that everything moves really smoothly. So the last thing that I'm doing to get ready for this recipe is to cut up my ham. Okay, it's all cut in nice little cubes. Now let's move over to the cooktop where we're going to cook up this recipe. Takes no time at all. I have in my pan about a stick of butter that I'm just melting down to be ready to sort of saute this ham and a little bit of garlic. Let's put it about on a medium heat. So again, 7 ounces of ham. Now, if you don't find a ham steak, you can also use a deli ham in this and just shred it up. It works great. And I want to take about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. This is going to be really, really filled with flavor. And 1 package of fresh peas. Now, these usually come about 4.5 to 5 ounces. Or you can use frozen peas, but don't put those in till the end if you don't have fresh. All right, now let's just saute that around a little bit. I just want to bring these peas to slightly cooked, so that nice al dente kind of feel on those, and I want to get just a little bit of fry on that ham. And if you need to, turn it up. Now, you don't have to use a wok for this. I just happen to be using a wok because I like using the wok for this recipe. I like knowing that I have all of my ingredients down low, and then I can kind of push them back if I need to. But a fry pan works great, and so does a big stock pot. Okay, at this point, I want to add just a little bit of flour because I want to thicken my sauce slightly, but not a lot. So about 1.5 tablespoons of flour will do the trick. I'm going to be adding some other ingredients that will make it thick. And then I always hold a little bit of my pasta water just in case it's too thick so that I can thin it down. And here's the ingredient that kind of makes this cream sauce. I'm using a small tub of whipped cream cheese. Now, you can add a plain tub of whipped cream cheese, or you can add one that has some chive and onion in it, which I really love in this recipe. Now let's add in a nice flavor profile here, and I love parsley and I love basil. So let's add some basil and some parsley. I have some fresh basil here that I just chopped. It just smells wonderful. And it's so good with the ham. And with this combination in the white wine, it's just perfect. The smokiness also of the ham really, really works well with this combination of the Viognier, the Chardonnay, the Treminette. And some fresh parsley. It also gives a great color. And then I'm going to add a little bit of half and half or heavy cream. And you can see the sauce is not thin. It's not a super thick sauce. It's not like a gravy. You really want a nice thin sauce when you're doing a pasta with a cream sauce, or else it's not creamy and it soaks into the pasta so quickly that you never get a chance to enjoy it on all the pasta. That is just lovely. And I'm gonna add just a speck, maybe, a tablespoon or so of my pasta water. Because what I want it to do, when it comes up on the side, you don't want it to be so thick that it looks like it's thick and burning. You just want it to adhere to the sides of the pan. This is perfect. All right, now let's just turn off that heat and add our pasta. Now, anytime I do a cream sauce, I really love to do a pasta that will absorb that cream sauce. So something like a penne farfalle. This is a lovely Italian pasta. Someone gave me as a gift, so I thought I'd use it. And because this was an Italian pasta, it's not necessarily packaged as a pound. So I went ahead and cooked it all, but it was more like 18 and a half, 19 ounces. And I don't want to overdo the pasta in this sauce. So we want to keep it creamy. So I'm not going to use all of it. Oh, but isn't that gorgeous? Now let's plate it up and see what it tastes like. I love this pasta. Oh, it's so good. And with the ham, delicious. So let's pour a little of this wine. Again, a Viognier Chardonnay and a little Treminette. The blend is beautiful. And it's perfect with this dish.